Hey Emily, tell me, is pregnancy an illness? It's not, right? You just want to use it as an excuse to slack off on the housework, don't you? Get up and make dinner before I lose it. Don't act so entitled just because you're pregnant. I listened to my husband Derek's cruel words while crawling on the floor. The throbbing pain in my back from being kicked and the nausea from morning sickness hit me simultaneously. Today was a family gathering, but I felt ill from the morning sickness and was resting in a chair in my room. Seconds later, Derek entered and kicked me in the back. Only the two of us were at his parents' house since the gathering was still 3 hours away. Taking advantage of this, Derek looked down at me with a devilish grin as I lay on the floor. Pregnancy isn't an illness. I was just resting because the morning sickness is severe. You, being a man, wouldn't understand this pain. Oh, I don't understand at all since I'm not the one pregnant. Now get up and head to the kitchen. Hurry up, or the relatives will be here. Despite making a child together, you don't care at all about the baby in my belly or how I'm feeling. It's always all about you, and I'm frankly sick of it. But all that ends today. Actually, the cooking is all set. I had it prepared in advance, by your mistress. What? Mistress? What are you talking about? Trying to find another excuse to slack off? Want me to kick you again? What's it gonna be? The tension filled the room, but I couldn't back down. Today I was determined to make Derek regret everything. With that resolve, I glared at him sharply, signaling my counterattack. What's with that look? You don't seem sorry at all. How insolent. What's with your eyes? You don't seem to be sorry at all. You are so cocky. Derek seemed particularly irked by my glare. He became visibly frustrated and was just about to kick me again. Hey, is that all you have to say? Any last words? That voice is. Just as a deep, angry voice came from behind Derek, he turned around, his spine chilling with fear, looking in the direction of the sound. His fear was not just from the anger in the voice, but also because it sounded familiar. What? Why is Mark here? How did you know we're my parents' home? The person known as Mark was, in fact, Derek's boss, Mark Thompson. By the way, I work at the same company as Derek and am currently on maternity leave. Since Derek and I are colleagues, Mark is also my boss. Today was supposed to be a family gathering, but Derek was clearly puzzled by the unexpected appearance of our boss, who isn't family. None of that matters. I'm asking if you have any last words. No, I mean. Derek was caught off guard by his boss's appearance and couldn't find the words to respond. He must be desperately trying to come up with a good excuse. I thought to myself as I watched the two of them. No, this isn't right. Up till now, Emily has been using her pregnancy as an excuse to boss me around. So what? Of course, I understand that she needs to take care of herself because she's pregnant, and I was willing to help as much as possible. But that doesn't mean Emily shouldn't do anything at all, right? Well, that's true. But considering our child, I've been enduring and trying not to burden Emily. However, it's gotten so bad that I've reached my limit. That must have been tough. I can understand why you'd be angry, but it seems you've endured a lot. Yes, I'm glad you understand. Derek seemed relieved by our boss's seemingly understanding response. However, did you really think you'd get sympathy with that story? What? It's amazing how you can lie so blatantly. I already know you're saying the complete opposite of the truth. No way, right? How could you tell I'm lying? When the boss clearly stated, "You're lying," my husband showed a confused expression again and was visibly panicking. He's a busy man, getting relieved then anxious again. Having been led on once, the shock must have been even greater for Derek. I was grateful to understand the boss's perspective, but Derek still refused to admit it. Thinking that this could go on forever without him ever admitting, I decided to remind him of our past. Hey Derek. You were kind and supportive to me at the beginning of our marriage, weren't you? Oh, yeah, that's right. That hasn't changed, has it? How so? Your kindness lasted only until I got pregnant. Your attitude changed after I became pregnant. That's because I was excited for the child to be born and wanted you to take care of your body. Derek was desperately trying to make the boss understand. The more he spoke, the more dubious he sounded, completely unaware that he was putting himself at a disadvantage. Despite saying that, you were indifferent towards the child. Moreover, even when I was on maternity leave and couldn't move much due to severe morning sickness, you told me not to slack off on housework and even kicked me. You treated me like a slave. Hey, Mark is here, so please stop this. Stop? Do you really think Mark doesn't know anything? What do you mean by that? Your behavior has been so terrible that I had to discuss it with Mark. No way, are you kidding me? What have you done? By then, I had already consulted my boss, and from the very beginning, he was aware of how my husband had been treating me. I can't believe Mark knew. Wait, what? My husband was very confused, but something seemed to dawn on him as he started to remember. Hey, Emily, you and Mark are from different departments, right? So, there shouldn't have been any interaction between you two at work. How could you have such discussions? Well, that's because... As I was about to explain, my boss interrupted me. Emily, wait. I'll explain this part. What? Emily? Why so friendly? Don't tell me, Emily, you were having an affair with him? What is he even talking about at this point? It's just unbelievable. I'm sure my boss must be thinking the same. That's ridiculous. There's nothing between me and Emily, it's just that. It was then that the boss revealed a fact unknown to Derek for the first time. At that moment, Derek was gonna be so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. Well, Emily and I were siblings. What? Siblings? Mark is your brother, and Emily is your sister? Yes, that's right. My boss is actually my brother. The moment he revealed that, Derek was so surprised that he yelled out loud. The reason Derek didn't know we were siblings is that my brother had told me to keep our relationship a secret. Wait, but Emily's maiden name was Parker, so your last names are different, aren't they? Is the sibling story a lie, then? It's understandable that he didn't notice since my brother and I had different last names even before I changed my last name upon marrying Derek. But there was a reason for this as well. Then Mark slowly began to explain. Emily and I have divorced parents. I was taken in by our mother, and Emily by our father. Our mother's last name is Thompson, and our father's is Parker. That's why we have different last names even though we're siblings. Oh, that makes sense. Mark explained, and Derek seemed to believe that we were siblings, at least for the moment. However, he still looked somewhat unconvinced. I wonder if something else is bothering him. With that thought, I closely observed his demeanor. I understand that you're really siblings now. But why keep it a secret? Well, that's because I knew you don't like me. I couldn't predict what you might do to Emily if you knew she was my sister. No way. Just because I knew she was your sister doesn't mean I would do anything. Which face of yours is saying that? In the end, it didn't matter that we were siblings. You treated Emily like a slave and harmed her. No, that's a misunderstanding. I never intended to make her a slave. Derek was still trying to find excuses, visibly intimidated by my brother's anger. However, it might have been true that he never intended to treat me as a slave. I thought so because I knew a fact unknown to Derek. I decided to confront him with it now. Well, they might not have really been planning to enslave anyone. I do think there was another motive though. Huh? What exactly are you trying to say? Derek said with a puzzled look, so I decided to backtrack and explain a bit. Do you remember me telling you I asked your mistress to cook before my brother came? Yeah, I recall you saying something that ridiculous. You really are something else. I wasn't joking. I had already investigated and knew about your affair. What, you investigated? Surprised by my words, Derek stuttered in response. I had initiated such an investigation after noticing a drastic change in Derek's behavior following my pregnancy, which led me to suspect infidelity. And indeed, the investigation confirmed his affair. First off, I haven't been unfaithful. Even if you did go ahead with an investigation, it would be pointless. I don't think that's true. After all, the other party is someone from our own company, and I've already been in touch with them. Lying to deceive me won't get you anywhere. You must be joking. Why would he outright deny it? He should be the first to know what he has done. I found that utterly incomprehensible. You couldn't possibly do that, but you're just full of nonsense and getting carried away. From Derek's reaction, it seemed like he wouldn't believe anything without evidence, as if insisting on his stance. Well, I shouldn't keep that person waiting any longer. It might be the right time now. Continuing this conversation would lead nowhere, so I decided it was time for him to see for himself. Actually, I've already called the other person, and they're here. So, let me take you to them, I said, and along with Derek and Mark, we headed from my room to the living room. Upon arriving in the living room, no other relatives were there yet, but a woman was waiting. What? Why is Lisa here? Oh no. This is bad. The moment Derek saw the face of the mistress, not just he but also my brother was taken aback. The woman my brother referred to as Lisa was, in fact, his wife. It seemed my brother was unaware of Derek's affair with his wife. Actually, it turns out that my brother's wife was having an affair with my husband, but there were unavoidable circumstances behind it. Mark, please don't blame Lisa. She's also a victim. Lisa is a victim too? What do you mean? Derek was the one who unilaterally pursued Lisa. Plus, she was being threatened by Derek. What? Hey Lisa, is what Emily is saying true? As I conveyed this, my brother looked towards his wife, surprised and visibly concerned. And then, Emily is right. Derek told me that if I didn't date him, he threatened to hurt Emily. I was so scared and didn't know what to do. Mark, I'm so sorry, Emily. Even though she was deceived, the fact that she had an affair probably made her feel inferior to my brother. After revealing the truth, she looked remorseful towards my brother and me. Lisa, please. It must have been tough for you. You don't need to apologize so much, my brother said, comforting her gently. Then, he immediately turned to Derek with a stern look and started talking. Hey, what's the meaning of this? Explanation, you say. Not knowing about the affair and finding out it was because Derek had threatened his wife, my brother's anger seemed to explode. He was furiously pressing Derek for answers. Don't you understand without me saying it? The reason you deceived Lisa to have an affair. All right. I'll explain, Derek weakly responded and began to explain the reason for the affair. Because I fell in love with Lisa at first sight. What? Hearing Derek's words, my brother looked bewildered. It's no wonder, Lisa is beautiful enough to warrant such affection, but it's unbelievable that he would threaten her to have an affair. Incidentally, Lisa, like me, Derek, and my brother, is a colleague at the same company. So you're saying you fell in love with Lisa the first time you met her at the company? Yes, that's right. I had a crush on Lisa even before she got married to you. If so, why didn't he appeal to Lisa in a fair and honest manner? I am not certain if he appealed and was rejected, but in any case, all I can say is that what my husband did was disgusting. Hey, I thought I realized you hated me, but was this also the reason? Exactly. That's why I was waiting for a chance to snatch Lisa away from you. That's when I set my sights on Emily. Since Emily and Lisa were as close as family, I thought getting close to Emily would bring me closer to Lisa. So, you approached Emily to get to Lisa, used her by getting married, and planned to dispose of her when she was no longer useful. Well, yes, but I never expected Lisa to be Emily's sister-in-law. Whether she was my sister-in-law or not wasn't the issue, but I had suspected Derek had a bit of a twisted side, never imagining it was to this extent. Why couldn't I see this coming? I sighed deeply in my head. What a despicable act. You're the lowest of the low for doing this. You won't get away with this easily. No. Knowing the truth, my brother was furiously angry at Derek. His words struck fear into Derek, who was visibly intimidated by his presence. I can't let this go. I'll sue you, and I'll report this to the company. No, please, anything but that. No, it's impossible. You've brought this upon yourself, so be prepared. Damn it. Rather than reflecting on his brother's words, for some reason, Derek had a frustrated expression. Was he honestly expecting to be forgiven if he spoke honestly? As I pondered such thoughts, Derek began to say something outrageous. Well, forget it. Huh? Suddenly, Derek adopted a defiant attitude, leaving the other three of us stunned. And then, he said something even more unbelievable. Hey, Lisa, why don't you just break up with Mark and become my woman? I'm younger and I'm confident I can satisfy you. Wait, Derek. Are you serious about that? Just how rotten can you be? We were extremely angry at Derek's despicable expression and remarks, and we couldn't help but raise our voices. But what mattered most was how Lisa would react. Of course, we knew it wouldn't go as he expected, but we decided to wait for her response. Cut it out. Even if you say that, there's no way I could accept you. I love Mark. Emily is important to me too. I can't forgive you for betraying both of them so easily. I don't care about those two. I'll definitely cherish you, Lisa. Threatening me to date him, and then saying something like that. I thought so, and it seemed my sister-in-law felt the same. You're really messed up. First you threatened me, and now you're saying you'll cherish me? You're ridiculous. But what I can't forgive the most is, as my sister-in-law spoke, her emotions seemed to rise, and she continued desperately, tears welling up in her eyes. Doing such terrible things to Emily, who is pregnant. What? If you ever get pregnant, I wouldn't do such a thing to you. I'd protect you and our child with all my heart. Derek, who knew nothing, was trying to persuade my sister-in-law, but there was a reason my sister-in-law was so angry that Derek didn't know. That's impossible. Because I'm infertile. What? I wanted to have a child, but I couldn't have one, and you approached Emily for your own selfish reasons, got her pregnant, and then disrespected her after the pregnancy. It doesn't make it okay to hurt anyone. You are not a human being. Lisa, you said it well. I think she was really struggling. She wanted children with my brother, and it must have been very painful for her that it couldn't happen because of her own circumstances. It was only natural that she couldn't forgive Derek's actions in such a situation. After being denied to this extent, I reckon he would have no choice but to admit his faults. I thought so, but why do I have to be told that much? Even if we don't end up having kids, I said it's fine as long as I can take care of you, Lisa. Even at this point, he still said such things without admitting his faults, and it was unthinkable not to understand my sister-in-law's words. I was thinking about how to make him understand. It was right after that. Wow! Suddenly, someone kicked Derek's back, causing him to fall to the floor. Damn, that hurts. Who the hell? Wait, huh? He was irritated as he turned around, but when he confirmed who was there, he was speechless with surprise. Who do you think you are to say such things? That's right. It's utterly pathetic. Why are Mom and Dad already here? And all the relatives? Isn't the gathering scheduled for another 2 hours? There were angry parents-in-law. Behind them, other relatives were also glaring at my husband with fury. You might not know, but we've already exposed everything about you to your parents, other relatives, and everyone else. In other words, today's gathering was originally meant to punish you. That's why we lied about the starting time to you. What the? IVE been set up? Finding out the truth seemed to shock him greatly, and he fell silent, turning pale as a sheet and crouching on the floor. My relatives surrounded him, staring at him with intense expressions. Oh no! My husband seemed quite frightened by their overwhelming presence, but just then, my father-in-law added insult to injury. I need to straighten out your mindset. Starting today, I'll be keeping an eye on you." With that powerful declaration from my father-in-law, and perhaps due to the intimidating presence of the other relatives, Derek must have realized he had no chance of winning this argument. He then hurriedly changed his tune. "Wait, please, have mercy. Look, Emily, I was wrong. I'm truly sorry to Mark and Lisa as well. So please, help me." It seemed like he was desperately trying to save himself, but such an apology wasn't going to be simply accepted with all right then, and my father-in-law seemed to understand that too. Enough with the excuses. Don't be so spoiled. You had plenty of chances to apologize. And yet, to not understand until being told this much, it's really pathetic, my father-in-law said, sternly pointing out Derek's mistakes, until Derek was finally left speechless. To deliver the final blow, I added my piece. "Hey Derek, obviously we're getting a divorce. I'll definitely be seeking alimony and child support, so be prepared." In the end, that day, it was my father-in-law who ended up apologizing to me, my brother, and Lisa, as he dragged Derek away and took him home. Afterward, I spent some time feeling slightly anxious that my ex-husband might come barging in, but then one day. "Emily, do you have a moment?" "Oh, John, what brings you here?" As I was relaxing at home, my father-in-law came to talk. "I wanted to apologize again. I'm really sorry for what my foolish son has done," he said. "No, John, it's not your fault. Please. Thank you. And after what happened, Derek might try to come to your place. But don't worry. Since that incident, he's tried to escape my watch a few times, but my wife and the other relatives have been working together to make sure he can't cause any more trouble. So, you don't have to worry about him coming over." "I see. That's a relief. Thank you so much." I had been genuinely worried, so hearing my father-in-law's words was reassuring. Derek was going to be under strict watch and hopefully straighten up, but it was his own doing. My father-in-law also shared about Derek's job situation. Apparently, due to Marker's lawsuit, Derek was forced to leave his previous job and is now working at my father-in-law's company, being strictly disciplined. While one worry was alleviated thanks to my father-in-law, I still had lingering concerns. Did I really do the right thing by divorcing Derek? Logically, having a father like my ex would likely have a negative impact on a child. But having grown up with divorced parents myself, I knew the loneliness that came with it. I feared I might be imposing the same feelings on my child. Amidst these thoughts, I realized I wasn't alone. Having someone to rely on made all the difference. "Hey Emily, how are you holding up?" "What?" "Mark, Lisa, what are you doing here?" "We were in the area and got worried, so we decided to check on you." "Don't push yourself too hard. If things get tough, let us know. We're here to help." "Mark's right, Emily. You're not alone. We're here for you." "Mark, Lisa, thank you so much." Thanks to my brother and sister-in-law's support, I managed to give birth safely. It wasn't just until the birth that Mark and Lisa were there for me. They also helped with raising the baby afterward, and thanks to their support, our child grew up healthy and strong. I'm truly grateful to Mark and Lisa. Mark had been my support when my parents divorced and I felt alone. But now, as a mother, I can't always be the one being supported. I will become a person who can support my family like my brother. I vowed to myself that, as moving forward,